One of the news that sent jitters across the Marrakesh arena was the news of the elections in America on Wednesday. The response to the election of Mr. Trump was swift.
Yes, Donald Trump is a climate denialist, and he has vowed, regardless of its foundation in law, to exit the Paris Agreement. But the devastation actually goes much deeper. This election has exposed deep divides in our country, driven by an economic system that benefits a tiny handful of people while leaving the vast majority behind. Plain and simple, Donald Trump is a cynical businessman who has built an empire off the back of working-class people and low-income people. And true to form, this is exactly how he won the White House. One of our greatest challenges that faces us now is we have no clue exactly what a Trump administration will do. He has made numerous head-in-sand comments about climate change, but as well as we all know, he's unpredictable at best. But no matter how you cut it, it's a very safe bet the U.S.'s role in these negotiations will go from bad to worse.
It seems to be a shared understanding among COP22 participants that the United States election results will not hamper global efforts to tackle climate change, though it has given rise to uncertainties of some kind. That's according to some climate policy observers. A victory by Donald Trump of the United States presidential election has caused concerns over a possible United States pullout from the Paris Agreement that has just entered into force on the 4th of November. Many COP22 participants, however, are in the belief that the Paris Agreement is a legally binding accord under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and all parties signed to the accord will enforce the agreement, irrespective of the November 8th United States climate election results.
We remain a nation of honor. Our word is our bond. We have signed a binding agreement along with scores of other countries, and we will demand that that agreement be honored.
Climate policy observers also believe learned Americans should be eager to participate in the fight against global warming.
We know that the task that we have in front of us remains the same, that we must continue to keep our aim and our focus on the long-term vision that the countries set for themselves in the Paris Agreement. So regardless of the elections in the US, we know that when we wake up this morning, the momentum for climate action has never been greater. We know that businesses are committed to climate action, are taking climate action. We know that cities are working to prepare themselves for the impacts of climate change. We know that communities are doing everything that they can to create a better future for themselves and for their children. And we need to continue to work on this. So at this point, given the progress that we have seen, we are confident that the nations of this world that are gathered here in Morocco will keep focusing on the work that needs to go ahead.
The Paris Agreement was signed in 2015 during COP21. Its 180 signatories have committed themselves to maintaining global warming to under 2 degrees Celsius from pre-industrial levels. American President-elect Donald Trump has once vowed in his presidential campaign to cancel the Paris Agreement once elected, calling global warming a hoax, and pledging to stop all payments of the United States tax dollars to the UN global warming programs. The United States remains outside a previous major climate agreement, the 1997 Kyoto Protocol, since George W. Bush withdrew from the treaty in 2001, arguing that it might cripple the U.S. economy.
If a President Trump were not to honor U.S. commitments under the Paris Agreement, it will negatively impact his ability to get the cooperation of world leaders on other issues he cares about, such as trade and terrorism. Climate change has become a geopolitical issue of the top order, and no country can be perceived as not doing its fair share on climate without serious consequences for its standing in the world.
And the news of the United States election came a day after the World Meteorological Agency reported that the last 5 years have been the hottest on record. The WMO report examined 79 extreme weather events from 2011 to 2015, including the 2011 to 2012 drought and famine in the Horn of Africa that killed more than 250,000 people. Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines that killed 7,800 in 2013, and Superstorm Sandy that caused $67 billion of damage in 2012, mostly in the United States.
9 extreme events which have been analyzed through the period of 2011-2015, and it comes out from the analysis that at least 50% of those extreme events have been attributed either directly or indirectly to the fact of man-made climate change.
The last 5-year period beats 2006 to 2010 as the warmest such period since records began in the 19th century.
Conclusions are very clear that that was the warmest 5-year period on record. We also confirm that the 2015 was the year when the global surface temperature exceeded 1 degree, and it links to the debate during this climate conference and the Paris Agreement targets.
Also on the day of the election, the German Watch released a report that 4 out of 10 countries who suffered most from the impact of climate change are in Africa. Mozambique, Malawi, Ghana, and Madagascar suffer from extreme weather events, especially flooding in 2015. This new revelation has renewed calls that more share of resources must be channeled towards adaptation.
Climate action must save people and the planet. And Paris Agreement adaptation has been put very strongly. It's a separate article. And not just that, we have also agreed on a global goal on adaptation, which connects with the temperature rise scenario as well as the support that we are going to get on adaptation. So at Marrakesh, we need to unpack and detail out how global goal on adaptation needs to be defined and how it strongly connects with the mitigation ambition as well as the support we are going to get.
Mustache, mustache, got to go! Mustache, mustache, got to go! We need women as heroes! We need women as heroes!
The women groups also call for equal opportunity at the conference.
We have just suffered the losses of Hillary losing in America. And within the climate decision space also, we don't have much women. We needed to bring this home with our mustaches to tell them that we are here. We need faith leaders that believe in feminism. We need local authority that believes in women as heroes. We need in all the sectors, we need women in all the sectors to speak up so that the issues and concerns of women will be taken on board. And that's why today you see me with mustache. Do we really need mustache to be acceptable in the decision spaces?
As the week wound down, African ministers of tourism adopted the African Charter on Sustainable and Responsible Tourism. The ministers decided to work to set up funds to finance and support African initiatives and innovative projects in the field of sustainable and responsible tourism, especially those that favor mitigating and adaptation of tourism activities to climate change.
In Nigeria, you can say we have not reached that stage. That the tourism is not overdeveloped. Yes, but then we must take the advantage now of this charter to ensure that we do not reach that, we don't reach that level for development where we now deplete, the natural and cultural resources. But of course, in doing so too, we must be mindful of the people who thrive, who survive on this. We're talking about the women who go to look for firewood. So you must also provide alternatives for them. And this is why you see we are trying to create awareness for the use of, something like LPG in Nigeria, so that instead of, using firewood, they use LPG.
The conference is set to continue for 2 weeks, and we host a high-level meeting with the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon expected to attend. Well, that's our program for today. Thank you for being a part of it. You can view this episode and any other episode of the program by visiting our YouTube channel, youtube.com/channelsweb. Click on the playlist menu and then click on S-File. From me, Ayola Kasim, and the crew here in Marrakesh, it's bye for now.